Mark Martin sits poised to start his second Busch Grand National race of the year at Bristol International Raceway. But you can bet he would like to rewind the tape and erase any memory of his embarrassing performance here 4 months ago.
And now on the way to the show.
Started out as a normal day here in Thunder Valley. Hard hits on the high banks. Martin leads. More colossal collisions. Yet, Mark Martin leads. A series of sheet metal shenanigans. You guessed it, Martin leads. Now there's the caution, followed by the white flag. And Martin leads, but wait a minute, Mark. The checkered has not been waved yet. Now it's waving. And David Green, well, he's going to be grinning right there in victory lane. And a good-natured Mark Martin does the mosey back to the garage area.
That's enough. Let's go home.
Tonight, Mark Martin puts those embarrassing moments aside as his thoughts turn to the critically injured Ernie Irvan, whose Ford Thunderbird he will drive tonight. Mark Martin has but one desire, claim victory for an injured friend. ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage, is pleased to welcome you live to Bristol, Tennessee. Side of Bristol International Raceway is seen tonight's NASCAR Busch Grand National Series Food City 250. A record crowd on hand as they have jammed their way into this beautiful high-banked half-mile facility to enjoy the finest short-track racing action NASCAR can offer. It is just a gorgeous night here in the Blue Ridge Mountains, as evidenced by this beautiful sunset just beyond the main grandstands. Temperature 83 degrees, humidity just 74%, and a slight, just 20% chance of rain. After 21 events, based on a poor finish last week, David Green has a very scant 68-point lead over Hermie Sadler. Ricky Craven, Chad Little, and Kenny Wallace rounding out the top 5. Hey, look at 6 through 10. Just 88 points separate those drivers, and yes, a rookie driver is in 8th position, Dennis Setzer. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, and welcome to Bristol, Tennessee. We had a little bit of fun at the top of the show, courtesy of Mark Martin, after an embarrassing moment back in the spring. But tonight for Mark Martin, it is all business. He will drive the Mack Tools Ford Thunderbird, owned by his best friend in racing, Ernie Irvan, who remains in critical condition up in a hospital in Ann Arbor, Michigan. But the word just moments ago with Ernie Irvan is better. Ernie is improving day by day. We have gotten word that they are looking to possibly weaning him off the ventilator. He is responding. His lungs are coming around. He is able to reply to commands. Drivers have been up to see him. In fact, earlier this week, Mark Martin and Dale Earnhardt walked in his room, and Ernie tried to lurch forward to acknowledge their presence. So that is wonderful news about Ernie Irvan. Last week at Michigan, Bobby Labonte became the 15th different winner in Busch Series competition for 1994. And if you look at tonight's qualifying, winner number 16 could be right around the corner from that top 4 or 5 cars that qualified. So let's check in now and see who the 16th winner might be with John Kernan.
You know, Jerry, this is almost like throwing back the clock to the mid to late 70s. If you take a look at the front row, you got Tommy Houston on the outside. Harry Gant will start on the pole. Tommy having an up-and-down year. In fact, last week, he didn't make the show at Michigan, although he did finish second here earlier this year. And how about Harry Gant, the job that he has done here this weekend? Not only has Harry captured the pole for tonight's Busch Grand National race, but he has also won the top starting position for tomorrow's Winston Cup race. Now, who's your tires on the first 4 cars on the grid? That could turn out to be the big story of the evening. At any rate, it's always exciting here at Bristol. For more on that, let's go upstairs to Ned and Benny.
You know, folks, you saw the Pepsi 400 from Daytona, and then last week you saw the GM Goodwrench 400 from Michigan, and we told you Ned and I's cars were running 200 miles an hour, and telemetry on the screen told you they were running 200 miles an hour. But it took 40 to 50 seconds to run a lap, and you said, nah, those cars aren't running that fast. You really couldn't tell it. Well, here the cars only run 135, 40 miles an hour. But, Ned, you can sure tell they're running that fast.
You can tell it's certainly under the lights. My favorite type of racing here at Bristol, Tennessee, under the lights. Close competition, only a half a second separates the first and the 30th place car here tonight. Folks, we're going to see some fantastic competition, maybe a little bit of beating and banging. While Benny and I have been talking here just this little bit, they would have already made about 3 laps. Jerry?
Well, gentlemen, let's go down trackside right now for the words we've been waiting for. Here is the Grand Marshal, Gary Azar, Vice President, Coca-Cola, USA.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gary Azar, Vice President of Coca-Cola, USA.
Is this it?
Drivers, y'all start your engines.
Field roars alive here in Thunder Valley. Exciting NASCAR Busch Grand National Series racing action set to come your way. When we come back, we'll have the starting lineup and the green flag from Thunder Valley, so don't go away. Take a look at this beautiful racetrack here in Bristol, Tennessee. Half mile, 0.533 miles to be exact. It's an oval, 650 feet on the front stretch, identical on the back straightaway. The banking, can you believe it? 36 degrees, and the straights are 16 degrees. Our race analysis, 250 laps tonight. The pole speed, 123.364. Race record, 85.447 miles per hour. And the pit window, you see it there, 170 to 190 laps on fuel, and there's the purse. Let's check in with our other pit reporter, Kyle Petty.
Well, the Winston Cup guys were on the racetrack as recently as an hour ago, so some of these guys in this race have been on the racetrack recently. The deal is that this racetrack is concrete. Since they went from asphalt to concrete, the racetrack's in really good shape. I don't think that anybody's going to have any problems. There's been some rumors of tire problems. We've had tire problems at different places like this in the past, not really since we've gone to concrete. The problem is when you have cars in this field this close together and you're sitting back here from the second row back, I don't care, unless you're in the first row, you're antsy on the start of this race because you know when they drop the green flag that all heck can break loose in front of you guys.
And they get ready to roll out as all heck will break loose in just a couple of minutes, Kyle. And one car having a little bit of a problem is the car number 14, the MW Window Chevrolet. That's Terry Labonte, a three-time winner this year, guys.
Yeah, evidently the car would fire, but it looks like he's going okay. Once he got pushed off, the car did fire.
Let's take a look at our Suzuki motorcycle starting grid, and there is, can you believe it, handsome Harry Gant, 54 years of age, and boy, did he bring this crowd to his feet during qualifying.
He certainly did, and beside him there's Tommy Houston. Both of those drivers got their start in racing at Hickory Speedway.
A couple of newcomers in the second row, Stevens and Jeff Purvis. David Green, our points leader. Ricky Craven back in row 3.
There were 32 cars that qualified for the field. They used 3 provisional spots, or actually 2 provisionals and 1 champion's provisional. Larry Pearson qualifying, he took a champion's provisional. Bobby Dotter and Tim Fedewa taking provisionals to start at the back of the field. An incredible field of cars on hand for this 250-lap event.
Well, 37 cars will start here tonight. 42 cars attempted to qualify, so unfortunately 5 of them had to go home.
250 laps.
And Jerry, these banks, 36 degrees. These 6 cylinders with about 500 horsepower, they barely have to back off the throttle going in the corner. Just crack the throttle and back in it. These fellows will be running around the racetrack almost flat out for 250 laps.
There's the impressive rookie Dennis Setzer starting back outside of row 16. We showed you the provisional starters, Bobby Dotter and Tim Fedewa. And there's Larry Pearson, a 2-time series champion. Pearson having won the championship back in '86 and '87.
And you wonder what happens when it gets dark? We have a lighting system around here that makes the track look like daylight. And these cars, as Ned said, will look gorgeous under the lights.
And there's our in-car camera riding along with Mark Martin. Take a look at that sign that Mark put up there, Get Well Ernie, the Mac Tools Ford Thunderbird. And here is Derek Cope, Ned, the Sports World Ford Thunderbird.
Of course, Derek won earlier this year in New Hampshire in this car prepared by Red Farmer and Associates.
And Dick Trickle driving the Food City car. Car number 64, the former NASCAR Winston Cup Rookie of the Year. And of course, that's the Food City in-car. And here's the Harris Teeter, Chad Little Ford. Chad Little, what an impressive performance last week in Michigan.
Boy, it was. Finished second.
His mother came all the way from the state of Washington here tonight to see him run.
And she will not be disappointed with anything she's going to see tonight here in Bristol, Tennessee. Glad to have you with us. Kyle Petty, John Kernan, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, and yours truly, Jerry Punch, as we're going to tell you folks to fasten your seat belts. 15-second laps, 36-degree banks. I get chills just thinking about it.
Just one more lap to happiness. I'm telling you, this is going to be very, very exciting. How about Tommy Houston? What a great qualifying run. Harry Gant in his swan song here at Bristol in the Busch Grand National Race on the pole. Man,
Reminds me of the early days at Hickory Speedway when the guy by the name of Ned Jarrett was a promoter there at the short track in Hickory, North Carolina. We saw Harry Gant and Tommy Houston side by side week after week, Ned.
Many times on that short racetrack, and they got some good experience there. Tommy told me today that it looked like Red Devil will come back with him next year to run the entire schedule, so he's gearing up after just running a limited schedule this year. We're ready to go racing.
Pace car pulls in. Carl Simmons gets set to wave the green, and we're off at Bristol, Tennessee.
Trying their best to get in a single file. There we see that's Dirk Stevens in the black car, Jeff Purvis in the orange and yellow car. We see Harry again already pulled out to 4 or 5 car length advantage. This is a battle for third spot.
Purvis a 51, Stevens a 15, the Breeze Lively Ford. The Food City Ford as he's back in the pack, trying to make his way up through the field. That's Dick Trickle. You see the single file that Benny Parsons talked about in trouble on the front stretch. Larry Pearson, Stanley Tools for Chevrolet. That's the Mac Martin-owned car, has come into contact with the inside retaining wall.
Boy, it's not been a good day for Larry Pearson. He blew an engine in practice this afternoon, was late getting through qualifying. He finally did qualify, had to take a champion's provisional to get in, and now some damage to the rear of the car early on in the race. You'll need all their big hammers to fix that car.
They'll break out the Stanley Tools for Larry Pearson. In fact, Larry Pearson's last win in Busch competition came here, what, about 6 years ago, Ned?
Yes, when he was champion back a number of years ago in this series. He currently stands 7th in the Busch point standings, and he missed a race early in the year, but he has had a good year up then, but then he just got down. I don't know if he got tapped and got down there against the wall, but
yeah, he could have. And when they hit in the rear like that, there's a lot of suspension in the rear. It's probably been some of that. He'll probably have to take it behind the wall. He probably will try to fix it and come back.
And you heard Ned and Benny talk about how hard you hit on a short track. That's a prime example of Larry Pearson's car will need some extensive repairs. Back with more from Bristol in a moment. We welcome you back to Bristol, Tennessee. Under caution for the first time tonight due to a heavy lick. Hard impact here on the front straightaway from Larry Pearson.
And we're almost ready to go green flag. Cars are up between 3 and 4. The pace car is going coming off, and Harry Gant will lead them back in turn 1 on the green flag. Here we go. We're off and racing.
Lap number 10, 4 laps under the caution, and 54-year-old Harry Gant in his swan song at Bristol, Tennessee, leads them. And here's a great battle back in the pack. Mike Skinner in the car number 88 on the outside.
Patty Moeson, the 40 car on the inside. And still side by side. Finally, Skinner takes that spot away. Stevie Reeves, a 96 car that's...
There's a couple of cars, a 33 pitted during this first caution flag, and we are told they were trying to make an adjustment on the handling.
Because the car was too loose. They took some tape off the grill trying to make it just a little bit tighter. He had to go to the rear of the field. He's trying to work his way back up. He now is 32nd position.
Well, that gave up a lot of track position for him to do that, but apparently the car was that bad. Bobby Labonte driving the Ventine Pontiac number 33. So he went from 9th all the way back to the rear.
That's Dennis Setzer in the car number 59 as he's trying to go inside of Roy Payne, and they are dicing all over this racetrack. That is back, way back in the back of the pack.
Well, one one of the problems here, when you make a pit stop like Bobby Labonte did, he gave up all that track position, and they go around here so fast, and once they get strung out, he could go a lap down here very quickly. In fact, he's about less than a quarter of a lap from being lapped right now. Here's Harry Gant coming off the turn forward. Bobby Labonte goes into turn 1.
About 20 car lengths separating the back of the field. 15 laps into this 250-lap race, Benny, and these guys are in jeopardy of getting lapped.
And looks like Chad Little has a problem. No, he just gotten on the outside. Oh, a little contact between he and Johnny Rumley.
And now Hermie Sadler, the car number 25, last year's Rookie of the Year, makes a move inside of Chad Little. There's got to be a problem, Ned, with Chad Little's car. Just not happening.
Well, it doesn't look like it's handling too good. He got a little high, Jerry, got out of the bottom groove, and everybody took advantage of it, and he was sort of a beating board there for a moment as they were bouncing all over him. But you can see the car as he comes off of the turn doing a little bit of bouncing around, but that's not unusual here on the high banks of Bristol.
And you're looking at Chad Little's, the back of Chad Little's Harris Teeter Mayor Select Ford. That is Derek Cope's in-car camera, the Sports World in-car from out of Melbourne, Florida. Ron Zook on machine. Cope a winner, of course, earlier this year up in New Hampshire in Busch Series competition.
Back to Harry Gant, and the leader, and Tommy Houston has caught him. The 7 car is Harry Gant, the red number 6, Tommy Houston.
A Chevrolet out front and a Ford in second.
Tommy Houston, an impressive performance earlier this year at Bristol, Tennessee. Finished second here to David Green. You saw what happened to the guy who almost won the race. As Houston pulls up, that's third, fourth, fifth.
Now they're about to catch up to the back end of the field. They'll start lapping cars here the next time around. Tim Fedewa is the first car that they'll be coming up on. Tim had to take a provisional. He wrecked his primary car here. He did get in a qualifying lap, but he didn't get any practice on his backup car and didn't have a very good qualifying run.
There's the interval among the top 5. Ricky Craven 2.6 seconds back. May not seem like much, but when he turned a lap at 15 seconds, that's quite a bit of racetrack.
Kevin LePage in the 71, the green and blue car, and that's Jason Keller, 57. That's what position? 10th. LePage is 10th, and that's been contested, and here comes Keller, and Skinner is running 12th.
Mike Skinner in the car number 88, the KFC-sponsored Chevrolet. Good run for Skinner, and right behind him, Patty Moise.
And boy, our leaders are in heavy traffic now as they have caught the tail end of the pack. It's hard to believe in just 24 laps that they're, and we've even had a caution, and there's still lapping cars here this early in the race.
Harry again trying to get on the inside of Fedewa. This is going to be some tough going. If he does make it, he's on the inside. Here comes Houston to take that spot. But they're going to run across. Oh, and a spin right in front of the leaders. Some heavy damage right in front of Harry again. Ooh!
Heavy contact in turn 2. Absolutely nowhere for Randy LaJoie to go. And Dirk Stevens.
That's a guy I feel sorry for. Is Dirk. And looky here at Roy Payne's car. Heavy, heavy damage to the nose of that car.
There sits what's left of the Fina Loop Chevrolet, car number 20. And, of course, Dirk Stevens, the Grease Lightning Ford. Great qualifying effort for Stevens. And, yes, you might expect we're seeing caution flag for the second time today. Hard impact in turn 2.
Man, oh man, I think was it Nathan Butke also involved in that? I believe it was Nathan Butke that was also involved in that crash.
66, yes.
And we see Dirk Stevens. The signal that the driver's okay is when they take the window net down. I see Dirk moving around in his car. LaJoie in the 20 has taken the net down. Here's Harry Gant, the leader. This accident happens right in front of him. The crash is going on. There's Nathan Butke in the 66. And watch the 27. He hits the 20 right in the left front. Now the 15 is going to come in. We're going to miss that because we're going to watch Roy Payne with the damage that 27 car.
Now, in all fairness to Roy Payne, there was a car on the inside of him that forced him high, and he had absolutely nowhere to go. He did a heck of a job to miss Butke, and now there's a car that comes into Butke.
That's Dirk Stevens that had no place to go. He decided to go high, hoping the racetrack would be clean when he got there, and unfortunately it wasn't. There we see Dirk Stevens crawling out of his car. Man, that's a tough break. Great qualifying run.
Now this is a bad break, certainly for these drivers who were involved, and it's good to see them climb out of their car, but a good break for those that Harry Gant and Tommy Houston were lapping up there. That'll give them a little bit of reprieve, at least.
And here's Mark Martin in on the backstretch. That's the Mac Tool Sports Thunderbird. We're riding along with an in-car camera. Jay Smith and the crew now making a chassis adjustment on Mark Martin's car. It's the Ernie Irvin old machine that Mark Martin's driving. You see some of the Texaco Haviland crew there. There's Steve Meal, part of the Valvoline crew. Mark Martin's Winston Cup crew chief, part of the Texaco crew that would fit the Ernie Irvin car. Everyone, a cooperative effort to help Ernie Irvin, who's still in a hospital in Arbor, Michigan. Pit stop, made a chassis adjustment.
Looks like they were raising the rear of the car up, like the car might be bottoming out in the corners, and they felt like they needed to get the rear of the car just a little bit higher.
And one of the drivers involved in this incident stands with our Kyle Petty.
I'm here with Roy Payne. Things happen so quick on this racetrack, there's nothing you can do. A couple of cars got sideways in front of you. What happened from there on out?
Well, it's just like you said, there's nothing you can do. I'm coming down the straightaway. I see the 66 and the 20 car turn sideways. The spotter never even said anything. I started getting on the brakes, and whoever was behind me must not have seen me. They didn't check up. They hit me in the rear end and kind of shoved me right in the wreck. You know, it's one of them deals. You're going 120 miles an hour when the car turns sideways in front of you. You're not going to get the car slow down quick enough to turn.
No way. And like Roy says, even the spotter didn't have time to key the mic and let him know anything. John?
Kyle, I'm with Dirk Stevens, and Dirk, very disappointed. Dirk Stevens, I might add, who had a great qualifying run today, but now you're out of the race. I guess things just happened too fast here, right?
Yeah, things really happened fast here. You know, we were coming down the front chute, and the spotter said low on the racetrack, and so I went high, and that's where the car was sitting. You know, the 394 Thunderbird, we've had a little bit of motor problem this week, or actually the last few weeks, been kind of struggling a little bit, but, you know, we came out, got a new motor build this week, and now we're qualifying up front where we wanted to be, and it's a bad deal. We thought we were going to have ourselves a good run today, and, you know, we'll be back next week.
How badly is the car hurt?
The car's hurt pretty bad, you know, so we're going to be out for the night. We'll just sit here and, I guess, enjoy Bristol.
Well, that's Dirk Stevens. He's shown a lot of promise this year, Jerry, but he's also had some problems.
Tough break for a couple of promising young race drivers. Another driver having a little bit of a problem after some great runs earlier in the year is the car number 23, Chad Little. What's the problem, John Kernan?
The problem, Jerry, that they've been fighting all race long is the car has been just too tight for Chad getting into the corners. It just didn't want to turn. It wanted to push toward the outside wall. So he radioed in Gary Cogswell, his crew chief, told him that. Gary said, hey, back it off. Just take it easy. There's no sense getting in an accident this early in the race and putting ourselves in a bad position because they're in the points hunt at this very moment. So they came in and they put rubber in the car to try and loosen it up.
Indeed, Chad Little currently fourth in the point standings. Great crowd on hand, exciting fans watching on a beautiful night for racing here in Bristol, Tennessee. Back in a moment. Back at Bristol, Tennessee, the Food City 250 in the early laps. Take a look at the top 15. Harry Gant, Tommy Houston, Jeff Purvis, Ricky Craven, as the leaders were able to barely skate through a close call over in turn 2, which brought out the caution flag for the second time today. And our Sears diehard driver profile tonight involves the driver of that car right there, the TIC Financial Ford, 31-year-old Kenny Wallace. Fifth in the Busch Series point standings, has a pole with 8 top 5 finishes this year. His best 1994 finish is second at Hickory Motors Speedway. It has been an eventful week for Kenny Wallace. He turned 31 on Tuesday and then got the break of a lap time a couple of days ago.
So far, so good. The car's fast. We just got to tune on a little bit more so I can get the thing up front, hopefully qualify in the top 20.
What he's referring to is he was named as the interim replacement, and I stress the word interim replacement, for Ernie Irvin. And that certainly says a lot when they come and pick someone like Kenny Wallace to jump in a car that is capable of winning everywhere it goes.
I guarantee you that he has to be so excited that Robert Yates, Larry McReynolds, two of the most respected men in auto racing, would ask Kenny Wallace to drive their car while Ernie Irvin gets well.
Certainly a very promising driver and a good point for Kenny Wallace on a week in which he turned 31 years of age. Back with more from the high banks of Bristol after this. Stay with us. Right here on ESPN. Battles everywhere. Now let's talk about what happened while we were under caution here.
Well, a huge crash is what happened. Here's Harry Gant, the leader, and he's going to drive through it. Pretty good driving through the wreck, wasn't he, Ned?
Yes, he was. He takes the inside, and Tommy Houston follows him. Now, let's look at this pink and yellow car of Jeff Purvis come through there. He was on the inside of Roy Payne. Payne couldn't get down. Purvis weaves his way through there unscathed, but the car number 27 of Payne just crashed right into...
And Dirk Stevens, the car number 15, also involved there. And David Green, our point leader, Benny, made a heck of a move. He followed Craven around the outside.
He did. He barely did make it by on the outside. There's Craven, David Green in the 44 car, the Slim Jim car. As Jerry said, he is the points leader. Believe me, he doesn't need to crash this early in the race.
We're about ready to go back to racing again. There again, down on the inside. Tim Feedwell up on the outside. He had just gotten lapped before the caution came out.
Restart here on lap 40 of 250 in Bristol, Tennessee.
Again, it's really getting good restarts. We've seen it at the start of the race during the other caution, and this time gets off to a good distance ahead of Tommy Houston.
Derek Cope, the Sports World car, right behind Hermie Sadler. There we see the 33 car, Bobby Labonte, the winner last week. Well, up on the outside.
Yeah, that's a brave move, moving up on the outside, but apparently he feels his car is working okay. He made that pass, got a little tap. Thought he was clear, but was not quite, but got back in.
You can see how these cars just bounce around. Here's some telemetry inside Jerry Cope's car. We said about 135, looks like 127 that time. Accelerating down the straightaway. Again, 127 down that straightaway.
And he's in heavy traffic. I think you've been right, then he'd been somewhere around 135 if we were in Harry Gant's car.
Once again, this car owned by Ron Zook. Red Farmer, the crew chief on the car. They purchased this equipment from the late Davey Allison. Most of these race cars that Derek Cope has been driving for the 1994 season. On the outside of Hermie Sadler.
Wow, what a gutsy move that is. It's a lot of nerve. Trying to pass on the outside this early, but he made a great move.
Yes, he did. That's exactly what Larry Terrier, the owner of this Bristol International Raceway, was hoping when he put concrete down all the way around this track, that they could have two abreast racing.
There's a 74 car, Johnny Benson, around the front there. Cope, remembering our tees, he plowed in the fourth corner wall with the right front back in the spring, in April.
These guys are 17th, 18th, and 19th, and back up front, a couple of veterans duking it out. Tommy Houston at 49 as he looks to the inside of Harry Gant, our leader in the car number 7.
Now, Gant gets those good jumps on the restart, but it doesn't take Houston long to run him down. He did it before, as we look at a field summary, so you can see where your favorite driver is running here after almost 50 laps of competition. Houston really putting the pressure on Harry Gant. He gets on the inside, he makes the pass.
He looked like a slot car. Boy, that car was glued to the inside of the racetrack.
That's what, that car is really glued to the bottom of the racetrack. You're right, Jerry.
The only other race that Tommy Houston has led this year, guys, take a wild guess.
Daytona.
Well, no, close. Bristol, Tennessee. He led 36 laps here back in April, so he must like this racetrack.
But Jerry, he is quickly, as fast as he is running, is quickly coming up on the tail end of the pack. What, we've been green 6 or 7 or 8 laps, and he's coming up on some very heavy traffic in the next 3 or 4 laps. There's some very heavy traffic back here. Hey, 3 abreast guys. Terry Labonte backed off. He knew better than that, even though he was on the inside.
That's Labonte in the car number 14 inside of Kevin LePage.
Jim Brown in the 63 car, the yellow car that went by. There he is. And that's Elton Sawyer in the 38, the white 38. Trying to get by LePage.
That's 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. Elton Sawyer being shown in 15th position, the car number 38 right there. Heavy traffic up front, Ned, for the leaders, and Tommy Houston is accustomed to those tight short tracks, but boy, the speeds here are incredible.
Yeah, and here's Purvis. He has caught up to Harry Gant as a result of them running up on the traffic. Ricky Craven is right there behind Purvis.
And there once again is some traffic. There's some heavy traffic as well.
Now remember, Mark Martin made a pit stop. He's driving the yellow and white car number 28. He's trying to work his way back up through there because he knows the leader's running for a while in 3A there, didn't have much traffic, were gaining on him, so he wants to keep from going a lap down.
And he must have made some contact with that 82 car, because all of a sudden, he is losing some speed in that 28 car. You see Derek Cope has driven away from him. Well, now he's coming back up on Cope now, but they did make some contact just a moment ago. Let's see. Ooh, I see what happened. Oh, a little bit of sideways. Good job, Mark.
Oh, a heck of a job Mark Martin did. That's back in 19th to 20th spot. Meanwhile, back up front, Tommy Houston.
Well, while we were watching that replay, there were two cars running side by side right in front of Houston, and he had an anxious moment there, but was able to, they sort of separated. Now he goes on the inside of
Clay
Brown in car number 16, and Clay sort of shuts the door on Harry Gant there.
Man, oh man, that's a tough break for Harry.
That'll let Houston pull away. Look how quickly he does it.
That's a shot from our steel aerial platform in the helicopter. And here's what Ned was talking about just a moment ago.
He came up on a couple of cars running side by side, and Clay Brown did back off. Or did he? They're still side by side there for a moment.
That's Johnny Rumley on the outside in the yellow 41, the White House apple juice car.
And Houston had nowhere to go, and finally Rumley did back off on the outside and let the leaders go by.
There's Harry Gant running in second spot. Jeff Purvis back in third. Purvis has yet to win in Busch Series competition. Been successful on the ARCA ranks. Has run some Winston Cup.
Clay Brown, we were just talking about, is making an unscheduled pit stop. His car going very slow going into the pits on the backstretch.
And there we see Mark Martin in the 28 car going by Bobby Labonte. He still hasn't called back up with Derek Cope, though.
Well, I believe it might be Bobby Labonte going by Mark Martin now. Up on the
Purvis is slow. Purvis is slow down the back straightaway. He is off the pace. Looks like he is heading for the fence.
And he will bring the Country Time Lemonade or Trick Mix Chevrolet down the front stretch pits. And John Kernan is standing by. John, what's the problem?
The crew, it helps him stop the car. They'll lift the hood. They're looking inside. I can't hear if there's a problem with the engine, but they're looking on the right side of the engine compartment, checking out the plug wires. It looks like now they're checking around the distributor. So obviously, Jeff Purvis now goes a lap down. How disappointing to the young man who had been running in third position. The car just doesn't sound right. You've got a crewman in trying to switch the ignition boxes, but Purvis will now shut off the motor. It looks like his night could be over there.
Tough break. He had a great run going.
The car just abruptly slowed on the racetrack, and Ned, you would guess that it would be an ignition problem when the car shuts off like that.
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind when it just quits running. And they do have a second ignition system that they can switch over to, and sometimes it helps and sometimes it doesn't. Apparently it didn't in this case.
And there comes a heavy, heavy pack of cars, and our leader is not far behind this group. And I tell you what, when he gets up here, business is really going to pick up.
And we are now hearing it was an ignition problem. We have heard from the pits, and that, Ed, your speculation was correct. An ignition problem and a tough break for Jeff Purvis.
Wow. There's 10 feet away, and he's got the world behind him, it looks like. Oh, a spin. The 59 car, Setzer, spun down the back straightaway, and the caution is that I don't think Setzer hit a thing.
And he continues to go on.
What a job he did looping that car around, and he tries to bring the car back around. They've struggled all afternoon trying to get that car dialed in. Ricky Pearson, the crew chief. There's Carl Simmons waving the caution flag for the third time tonight.
And Dennis Setzer did go a lap down. The leader was not too far behind him when he made the spin. Here is Tommy Houston, the leader, as he comes off of turn 2. Let's see what he's going to see. He slows down. He sees Dennis Setzer spinning in front of him. Bobby Dodderson heads up driving. As Houston slowed down, Bobby went on around and got his lap back.
A little bit different angle this time.
Look at all this heavy, heavy pack of cars. And right at the end, the 59 car trying to get underneath Stevie Reeves, loses contact coming off the second corner. And there's our leader, Tommy Houston, going by.
I tell you, for a rookie driver, he had a chance of spinning Stevie Reeves or jamming on the brakes and spinning himself. He spun the car, didn't touch a thing, and hey, we'll be back with more Green Flag Racing in just a moment. Back at Bristol, Tennessee, the Food City 250 in the early laps. Problems early on. at Bristol, Tennessee. The Speed World coverage of the Food City 250 Busch Series event. Great crowd on hand. Let's check in now in the pits with Kyle Petty.
Well, when Mark started the race, he said his car was tight. They come in, took 4 rounds of wedge out, took a rubber out of the left rear. This time, under this caution, he says the car is loose in, pushing off. They came in this time, took a couple of more rounds of wedge out. They adjusted on the left front air pressure and both right side air pressures. And Ernie, if you're listening, Mark said he understands how he outruns you every week in this car now. John?
Kyle, I just checked in Harry Gant's pit. During the caution, Harry radioed in and told his crew that the engine in the car didn't seem to be running as strong as it was at the start. Well, Chris Carey, who has been working with Doug Hebron, they didn't make the show. He is helping out in Harry's Gant's pit. He was his crew chief for quite a while on this thing. And Chris said he doesn't think that it's going to be a serious problem, anything to worry about. But keep your eye on the 7 car. Harry doesn't like the way the motor feels right now.
I'll try to convince Tommy Houston that Harry Gant's car isn't running as strong as it was earlier.
I'm telling you, Harry Gant closes off on the back bumper, but you know, this is what's happened every time after cautions. Like Harry Gant runs extremely well for a few laps, and then Tommy Houston goes, well, let's see you later.
Yeah, the only difference was that Harry was in the lead on the other restarts, and this time Tommy was in the lead, so Harry is putting the pressure on. We'll see after 4 or 5 laps if Tommy's able to pull away like he was able to catch Harry before. Right there, he made a good move coming off the tube, picked up a couple of car lengths as he went around Larry Pearson. Larry has his car back out there hobbling around. He is about 66 laps down, but trying to pick up some points.
And there we see the 82 car just made some contact with Johnny Rumley coming off that second corner, and Rumley almost spun out.
Johnny Rumley having a pair of 8s, his best finish in Busch Series competition this year, driving that White House Ford. Here again is what happened to Rumley a moment ago.
There we see Mark Martin that gets by. This is down the front straightaway, and if we'll follow this until they come off the second corner, Cope gets underneath and goes, oh, I see why he got into him, because the 23 car got in the back of Derek Cope. That's Chad Little in 23.
And crash out of turn 4. Mike Skinner, the KFC Chevrolet, has come into contact, has tagged the wall. A burst of flame from beneath the car. The car is smoking heavily as the caution comes out once again, and still some fire beneath the car.
Yes, I tell you what, he has hit something off. That looks like an oil line or gasoline or something that's under the car.
And here's a fireman running up pit road toward the race car. Mike Skinner, realizing the car is smoking, the crew now trying to tell him that there is fire beneath the car. And Skinner trying to get those belts unhooked and possibly climb out. There's the NASCAR Busch Series official there. Skinner angrily throws the gloves down.
You know, I believe that's a gas man from one of the teams. There with his silver apron. I think that's a gas man from one of the teams that grabbed a fire extinguisher and went up there. Let's see. Stand up, guy. Can you tell what that says on the back of his?
I don't know. But on the race back to the flag, Harry Gant passed Tommy Houston for the lead. Tommy slowed down, and here's the wreck as Mike Skinner gets into the wall.
And I tell you, there's some heavy, heavy contact. Look at the right front on that car, Ned. It is really banged up.
Benny, I think you're right. I think that is a gas man from Kevin LePage's team, the very far end of pit road, the Vermont Teddy Bear team. And there, Mike Skinner has climbed out of the car. A little bit wobbly. When you hit here, you hit a ton.
Yeah, but he's not concerned about himself. He's concerned about his race car.
And he's got his KFC cap on, so everybody knows he's driving the Kentucky Fried Chicken car. He thought of that.
And, you know, these guys are so sharp. They keep those caps in the car.
Of course they do. Hey, they know if they crash, that camera's going to them, and we can see that headshot. Wow, look at that.
Ernie, so precious to NASCAR. You won't get any argument with many of us. Indeed, the fans here thinking about you, Ern, thinking about you up there getting better up in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We're under caution once again at Bristol International Raceway. And indeed, our blessings and our prayers are with you as this capacity crowd thinks about Busch racing and your recovery. Back in a moment. Indeed, I want to buy that table they're sitting on. That's pretty doggone sturdy, I think. So, Food City 250 coming your way from Bristol, Tennessee, and exciting. We told you, fans, you would not be disappointed. And Ned, you mentioned that Chad Little's mom came all the way from Washington State to watch him race, and she has to be sitting on the edge of her seat watching this exciting action under caution.
I tell you, anyone who has never seen a race here at Bristol, Tennessee, whether it's on television or live, being here, they're in for a treat when they come here because always lots of action.
And Dick Trickle had an excellent seat to see the damage of this car. Watch and listen.
when you get there, the car is gone.
And I believe that car is gone. I firmly believe that, and that's why Mike Skinner probably was more upset about that than the contact he had with the wall. Pit road is open. We might mention that Harry Gant, Ned, was able to get back around Tommy Houston when that caution came out.
He did indeed. As Tommy slowed down for the wreck that was not too far in front of the leaders, Harry Gant was able to move around. We see none of the leaders are coming in at this point.
And one reason that they don't dive in the pits like a Winston Cup race is under Busch Grand National rules, they're only allowed one set of tires per race on the caution flag. They can only change tires one time on the caution flag. Now, they can change all they want on the green flag.
So there's Hermie Sadler, currently second in the point standings, and you're allowed, as Vinny said, one tire per position. And indeed, it looks like that Bobby King and the people in Don Beverly's race team, they'll make an adjustment. They look at the tires, and they're making an air pressure.
They are adjusting the air pressure on the tires. They can't change them, but they can change the air pressure.
So a little air pressure adjustment, and they clean the windshield.
They're dropping the air pressure down, trying to let those tires get a better grip on the racetrack. As the cars go around the racetrack, they build up some heat, and they also build up pressure. Now, they're just letting some of that pressure out so the tires will get a better grip.
We are under caution for the fourth time today, this evening at Bristol International Raceway. Back with more exciting Busch Series competition on the high banks after this. Back at Bristol, Tennessee, we've just gone green a lap ago. That's Tommy Houston, Ricky Craven, the front two cars, Kenny Wallace in third. But where is Harry Gant? He was the leader as they came to the start-finish line with a green flag. And here's what happened a moment ago.
The car simply didn't take off. Here he comes around to get the green flag, Jerry, and there he's getting the green flag, and all of a sudden he just pulls down to the inside. Something wrong with the Mannheim auction car. What is it, John Kernan?
Well, I just talked to Chris Carey. He says it's spitting and stuttering. It sounds like a plug wire has worked its way off. As Harry comes by, you can definitely hear there's something wrong with that motor.
Harry stayed out there hoping to get a caution flag. Now he's about to go a lap down as Tommy Houston goes around as he comes off of turn 2. And Ricky Craven putting the pressure on Tommy Houston here. But he's staying out there hoping he would get a caution and stay in the lead lap. But now he will come into the pits.
Harry Gant had reported he had a motor that was getting a little bit weaker, and apparently he jumped on the throttle for that restart and just wouldn't come up to speed.
And as we watch the battle for the lead, there's Harry Gant in the pits. Crew raised the hood, trying to see if the spark plug wires are on. Are they, John?
Well, I just got a thumbs up from a crewman. He went around to the right side, pushed in on all the plug wires, made a thumbs up and an okay. Apparently, that's what the problem was. Now that Harry is on pit road, they will go ahead and make a chassis adjustment. As he pulls away, it sounds like the problem might not be fixed.
Well, Johnny apparently is at least 3 laps down now.
Plus, he's fully behind the wall. He's headed for the hauler that hauls that car, and he's apparently going to be out of it.
Harry Gant doesn't run for the points in Busch Series. He just runs selected events in Ed Whitaker's car, so don't need to go out there and ride and try to get any points. There's the battle up front for second and third. Tommy Houston, the Red Devil Enamels car, and here's Mark Martin in the car number 28, the Mac Tools Ford, moving on the inside of the lap car of Dennis Setzer.
Gets on the inside, goes by. There's Dick Trickle in the Food City car, 64 car.
Mark Martin has moved back up to 14th position. Remember, he made a pit stop during one of the earlier cautions, made some adjustments on that Mac Tools Ford, and has come back up through the pack, 14th position.
That's 15th and 16th right behind him. Dick Trickle, you got a moment ago, got a shot from his in-car camera. 64 is Trickle, 23 is Chad Little, and behind them, Johnny Benson Jr., rookie driver. There is Chad Little's in-car camera, the Harris Teeter car, Mayor Select, owned by Mark Rippon, Cleveland Browns quarterback. Getting a good look at the Food City Ford of Dick Trickle.
Back to the lead. Tommy Houston still leads it. Ricky Craven, the DuPont car is second. TIC car. And I saw some smoke in one of those cars. Maybe that was Kevin LePage. Kevin LePage might have blown up as he came off the corner because he does pull his Vermont Teddy Bear down to the pits.
I don't think Tommy Houston's car is handling quite as well as it was a little bit earlier, guys.
And who took that, looks like the 23 car, Chad Little, took that spot away from Johnny Benson in 74.
That's 15th and 16th position. That's Chad Little, car number 23. He's already made one unscheduled pit stop. Been on pit road, and rookie driver Johnny Benson, who came so close at Indianapolis Raceway Park 2 races ago to getting his first Busch Series victory. There's the leaders back up front, moving inside of the Johnny Rumley car.
Well, they are really putting the pressure on Houston. When I say they, we're talking about Ricky Craven in the DuPont Chevrolet number 2 and Kenny Wallace in the PIC Financial car in the Ford number 8. Houston's car is not handling quite as well. Was before when he was running with Terry Gant, that car just didn't move. He was just so smooth around the track. But now you can see he's using up quite a bit of the racetrack.
Here comes Craven on the inside, taking a look.
This is Ricky Craven's 6th Busch race here at Bristol International Raceway. His best finish coming back in August a year ago. He finished 6th. Certainly trying to improve on that tonight. Has a good shot at it.
Uh-oh, there we go again. That Chad Little looks like he's off the pace. And, ooh, the 74 car, Benson Staff America car, going by on the outside. And Little does have a problem.
Benson taking the pass on the outside the hard way here at Bristol, Tennessee.
We're told that Kevin LePage has an ignition problem in that teddy bear car.
Here's Jim Bound.
And Robert Presley. Robert Presley driving that 35 car, the Cincinnati. Oh, what happened to Presley?
All of a sudden, he went high.
It's like a flat tire, or the motor blew up or something.
That's the Mike Laughlin on Milacron car. Presley agreeing to drive that car for 3 events, and you saw him just go whipping by Presley. That's the end car you're riding with. There's the 35, Robert Presley, 10-time winner in Busch Series competition, and he heads that car for the back pit area.
And, of course, the 99 car that Robert Presley has been driving this year is being driven tonight by Phil Parsons. He's sitting there riding in 8th place right now.
Here comes Craven. Took a look. Didn't quite make it. And meanwhile, while this is going on, the other cars are closing in, closer and closer to the lead. There we see that white car, just the nose on it. That's Kenny Schrader. There he is, the Eastman Chemical car.
I don't think there's any question of what Tommy Houston is holding Ricky Craven up. He's leading the race, though, so he can use that racetrack the way he wants to up there. But I think Craven can run faster. He's going to stick a nose down there again. Just thinks better of it. As he going to the turn now, he gets a nose under coming off the turn. He'll make the pass.
And I tell you what, Tommy Houston might go back to about 7th or 8th before he gets back to the inside. Now, 3rd spot.
He was able to slip back in there. You're right. Then he could have gone back to 6th there very quickly. Was able to get back in front of Kenny Schrader.
So top 6 cars all together, and as you said, Benny, and Craven is pulling away. In 2nd spot is Mike Wallace. He was the subject of our Sears diehard, or Kenny Wallace, the subject of our Sears diehard driver profile.
One of those Wallace boys anyway.
One of them, and Mike Wallace, a 3-time winner here in 1994, and Schrader makes the pass.
And so does David Green.
And a spin here, Dennis Setzer hanging on. Apparently something breaking in the front of the car.
Left front tire's flat, I know that for sure.
Well, no caution. He's down on the inside of the racetrack, out of the way of the leaders as they go by. Dennis Setzer coming on around. So Dennis having his problems here tonight after having a series of good races.
And here again, here's what happened out of turn 4. Watch the move. Setzer, well, he does get tagged by Derek Cope.
Yeah, and that was really, Derek Cope did a great job of not just running all over him.
And 59, Setzer did a great job in not spinning the car. Once he got banged in the rear of the car, he does bring the car in with that left front flat. And there we see Elton Sawyer going a lap. I said he's going a lap down. That's not the leader. That's Tracy Leslie. Martin.
That's 11th, 12th, and 13th. Benny is Elton Sawyer have been running in the top 10. And Dennis Setzer is on pit road, and John Kernan is there.
Jerry, they've already changed the right side tires. Now they're having problems getting the jack under the left side. That's because the left front tire is so flat that it's sitting down on the rim, on the wheel. The Setzer sitting here on pit road losing laps. It doesn't look like the car is too seriously damaged other than the flat tire, though.
John, he's already 4 laps down and about to go the 5th lap down.
And here's a battle for 13th and 14th between Elton Sawyer and contact. Sawyer in the 38 and Dick Trickle in the 64 with Johnny Benson, a bystander, in the 74. And Trickle will make the pass. We'll see if Sawyer will give him the love tap in return. Nope, Sawyer stays high. Benson goes right beneath Sawyer and takes a spot away, so Trickle will take that spot. He now is in 13th spot with Sawyer back in 15th.
John Kerner talked about at the top of the show that we might have a tire story. And, you know, Harry Gant and Tommy Houston both started on the front row on Hoosier tires. And it looks like right now to me, Ned, that the Hoosiers are just going away.
Well, Tommy's car has definitely slowed down. There's no question about it. And I would suspect that it might have something to do with the tire's performance. And we understand that the car has gotten very tight, which sometimes doesn't happen.
And I think that Elton Sawyer might have the Hoosiers on his car. My brother Phil was running 7th just a moment ago. He looks like he's having his problems. Now, Freddie, what about it? Are the Hoosiers going away or the Goodyear just coming in front?
No, you know how it is, Benny. Sometimes you go places and they come with a tire that's incredibly fast, but has a huge drop-off on it. I think the Hoosier tires just have a little bit more of a drop-off night than what the Goodyears are. The Goodyears are able to maintain their speed, even though it's not as fast in the beginning. The 35 car had a flat tire. That was their problem. I looked at the tires when they came off of it. They were the Hoosiers. We're not seeing any blistering like we did last week at Michigan or anything like that. So I think they've just got one of those deals where the Hoosier tires are going to be strong. So if it comes down to a shootout at the end, they might be the tires to beat.
Well, they certainly aren't good for the first few laps, that's for sure.
And halfway next time by here at the Food City 250. Record crowd on hand here enjoying exciting NASCAR Busch Grand National racing action on the high banks at Bristol International Raceway. Back with more in a moment.
How much is this moment worth? $100? $1,000?
Back at Bristol, Tennessee on a beautiful night for Busch Series racing action. Ricky Craven in the car number 2 is our leader. Kenny Wallace in hot pursuit. The DuPont Chevrolet. There's a TIC Financial Ford and the Eastman Chevrolet. That's Kenny Schrader back in 3rd spot. Now, a moment ago, Jason Keller, who had been showing in the top 10, had a bit of a problem.
Here he is. He comes down the front straightaway, and he goes in turn 1. That's Tracy Leslie, the Detroit Gasket car. They go in the corner, and Keller goes up. He gets on the high side and just cannot get off that corner. Look how many spots he lost. 4 spots, Ned.
That crowd has been running. We've seen them several times running very, very close together back there from about 10th back through 15th position. And it did cost him several positions there.
And here's Chad Little, who's right behind Jason Keller. And Chad Little after that second place finish.
And Phil Parsons almost spun right in front of that group. That's the Luxair car, that black car, and his car got extremely loose going off the second corner. And as I said, that's Phil. He was running about 7th a moment ago, and he's off the pace, backed up to about 15th.
Yeah, he's still in the lead lap, but definitely that car looks like it's gone away on him.
Watch as he comes off that second corner. Gets the car out of shape. There was no contact with Jason Keller. He just simply got the car out of shape.
That's the Bill Papillon Chevrolet. Phil Parsons driving it for the first time this year. There's the Luxair Chevrolet, the Papillons. What a good job Parsons have been doing, and a lot of concern about tire wear. You heard the guys comment about it a minute ago. Back up front, here's a challenge. Kenny Schrader makes a move. Our AutoZone race summary, our leader, Ricky Craven, has led 16 of 127 laps. He's one of the 3 leaders with 4 lead changes. There have been 4 cautions. For 30 laps, the average speed, 78.5 miles per hour. Our lap leaders, Harry Gant, our pole sitter, Tommy Houston, who started on the outside of the front row. Ricky Craven now has assumed the point for 15 laps. Out of the race, Roy Payne, Randall LaJoy, Dirk Stevens, Nathan Bucky. They were involved in a horrendous crunch in turn 2. Jeff Purvis had a problem with ignition. Mike Skinner involved in an accident in turn 4. And Harry Gant, apparently a motor problem. Car number 7 has pulled it behind the wall.
Jared, did you say that 52 car was a teammate to Harry Gant? This is Ed Whitaker's car?
Ed Whitaker had rented a car earlier in the year. Ed Whitaker being from Johnson City area, right where near Eastman is. You see a pass there as Dick Trickle makes the pass on Mark Martin in the Mack Tools Ford.
And while we're watching this, Phil Parsons, we were talking about a little bit earlier there in the Luxair car, has come in for a pit stop. His tires, I think, they've simply gone away. He's getting 4 new tires on his car. There he is. They're making that change now. They're giving Phil the Waved off the drink, John. Just looked like a regular pit stop. Have to make it under the green, though.
Well, Phil's trying to drive off the jack. Now he gets on the jack. He was a little frustrated. In fact, he actually shut the motor down. They did a 4-tire change. At first, they talked about it 2. And I think you're right. The tires are just giving up so much that he had to come in and pit. He just couldn't drive the car anymore.
Now we see Tommy Houston, who led the race for 53 laps. He's struggling right now, trying to get around the racetrack. As Mark Martin tries to get alongside of him, and he does.
And boy, Tommy Houston would love to see a caution here very quickly. He's going to have to come in and pit like Phil Parsons did here before too long. You know, that car is really slipping and sliding with him.
Excuse me, Ed. You heard Kyle Petty comment about the tires giving up. That's exactly what apparently is happening to Tommy Houston. They were quick in qualifying, but as now we have 144 laps in the books, the Hoosiers have sort of gone away.
Now we see Kenny Schrader getting a little racy.
And Houston is off the pace down the backstretch, and you watch this battle up front. Tommy Houston turns 4 and will head for pit road. There's Ricky Craven and Kenny Schrader, the 2 and 52 cars. And here's Tommy Houston's Red Devil enamel Ford finally having to make an entry on the pit road.
And boy, this is costly on a short track to have to make a green flag pit stop, and especially a short track where they go around here in about 16.5 seconds.
I tell you, Schrader, he is so hungry. What's the deal with Schrader?
Oh,
he's not going to sit back there.
No, he's a racer. He loves to race hard. He loves to run up front, and it doesn't matter what kind of a car he's in, what kind of a race he's in. He just likes to run up front. Let's go to the pits. Tommy Houston is still there. John Carter.
Well, they apparently had a problem with the right rear tires. The left side tires radioed in, and they said that they were gone. I just looked at some tires that came off Phil Parsons' car, and the tread indicators were almost non-existent. Flat wearing the tire out.
And here's last week's winner, John, Bobby Labonte. You talk about what a difference a week makes. Last week he had the best day you could have in Busch competition coming to the front, and he is about to get lapped.
He's running in 16th position, Jerry. So right now there are 16 cars in the lead lap, but that's about to change, as you say. And Ricky Craven moves down on the inside, puts Bobby Labonte a lap down.
Talking about Kenny Schrader being hungry. They tried to qualify a car for the Eastman Company at the spring race, Benny.
They did, and missed the show, didn't they?
Didn't qualify.
If I remember correctly, they missed the show, but they're back, and they're making up for it this weekend.
Dick Trickle beginning to make a move. Who better on the short tracks than this guy? Car number 64, the Food City Ford.
About in 10th spot, 9th spot right now.
Started back in 19. Back in 21st at one time, back on lap 24. 52-year-old Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin driver. Wonder how many wins he's had on short track.
Count that high.
Lots and lots.
Goes in right on the back bumper, Tracy Leslie.
Now, guys, with less than 100 laps to go, we're going to see some pit stops in the next 30 or 40 laps. They'll be running out of gas if they're not running out of tires. So if this thing goes green a while, Tommy Houston is some of those Phil Parsons who made pit stops, although Tommy Houston lost 4 laps. On his pit stop, Phil Parsons lost 3 laps. But if these others have to make green flag pit stops, that'll help those guys catch back up.
Kevin LePage made a pit stop earlier, went in the garage here and stayed a while. He's back on the racetrack now, but extremely slow.
That's the car number 71. He's being shown about 50 laps down, and heavy traffic up front for Craven. And Schrader had a run on the inside of Craven, but the 08 car, Bobby Dotter, was the brake that Ricky Craven needed to be able to get Kenny Schrader back in single file.
Bobby Dotter running in the 15th position now. There are just 14 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, you made a point a minute ago. Our race analysis said at the top of the show that the window for fuel was lap 170 to 190. It's the most they'd want to go. What are we seeing right now, Benny? About almost 160.
Almost 160. So pit stops will be starting pretty doggone soon.
And we'll come back and cover those pit stops under the green flag as we have exciting Busch Series racing action coming your way from the High Banks in Bristol, Tennessee. come back and exciting action. The smoke still trailing from that car, number 38, Elton Sawyer, and the caution flag flies, and Sawyer's car, a wild slide in turn 3, but he had a lot of help.
Yes, it did. Tommy Houston, who had new tires on, was coming back up through the pack there very quickly. He had already passed the leaders, and he went in on turn 3, tried to get under Sawyer. Sawyer didn't know he was there. They make contact, and Elton spins around. This is the caution that the leaders needed, or wanted at least, because now they can make their pit stops under green. Here it is. There you see they get together just a little bit going into the turn. Now, Tommy Houston did not want to see a caution. He had new tires on and was set to go the rest of the race. But now the others are making their pit stops under caution. Here they are.
And Johnson to Kenny Wallace pit. John?
It'll be a 4-tire change for Kenny Wallace. Right side's already on. We haven't seen him make any chassis adjustment as of yet, although they were talking about an air pressure adjustment. And now Kenny Wallace is down and away, and he's going to cut off his brother Mike as they head down pit road.
And here is the Eastman car, Chevrolet of Kenny Schrader, as he is down. And there's the car number 2, Ricky Craven. We mentioned it's 1 tire per position. Also, there's David Green, the Slim Jim Chevrolet, our point leader. 64 in the back pits. That is Dick Trickle, the Food City Ford, and his car is finally down. He was pitting in the back stretch, and he will come out, and he's being told to blend in line.
Well, the blend in line is at the very rear of the pack. That's where he's going to have to blend in. And we see there's no one to blend in with.
He's all by himself. So we're under caution for the 5th time due to a spin up in turn 3 involving Tommy Houston and Elton Sawyer. Back with more in a moment. Back at Bristol, Tennessee. Exciting ESPN Speed World coverage of the Food City 250. Under caution for the 5th time tonight, Elton Sawyer, the white car, left side of your screen, gets a little bit of a touch from Tommy Houston.
And Ned, you're right. Houston did not want to see this caution flag. He was 2 laps down. He had an advantage on the leaders. They were going to have to make a pit stop. He had a chance to make it up, and now they got to make a free pit stop on the caution flag.
Now, he was 14th. Right in front of him was Chad Little. And here's the bumper cam shot looking back at Elton Sawyer.
This is through turns 1 and 2, and Sawyer blows up on the back bumper. Now comes Tommy Houston. And look at those guys got by.
Indeed, they are. And this, of course, the caution flag that, as you heard Ned Jarrett say a minute ago, the lead cars wanted to get. And here is Ricky Craven almost getting a little bit of sheet metal damage done under caution as they wiggle back and forth to get a little heat, I guess, in those radial tires.
And trying to clear those tires off.
13 cars in the lead left. The green flag waves, and Kenny Wallace out of the pits, and the car number 2 of Ricky Craven very slow on the restart. And Kenny Wallace gets a big jump.
Right in front of him, the car 59. He is being shown 5 laps down. He spun early on, then cut a tire. Had an unscheduled stop, lost 4 other laps in the pits.
Tommy Houston right behind him. Tommy's trying to get around him. He's still 3 laps down, being shown in 20th position. So Houston wants to get up there and see if he can catch Kenny Wallace and get one of those laps back.
There we see Tommy Houston, or I'm sorry, that's Clay Brown, the 16th car. I saw the 6th. Slow down the front straightaway. Also, Terry Labonte is slow on the racetrack. Inside. Yep.
And David Green in the car number 44 takes a spot away.
Well, Chad Little had a good pit stop. He came out in 3rd position, but is losing some positions right now.
Oh, some contact between he and Dick Trickle. Almost lost control, both of them. And we see Chad Little on the outside losing spots one after another.
And he's going to the back in a hurry. That's the car number 28 of Mark Martin on the inside, followed by Jason Keller, Tracy Leslie. Here again, what happened? A close call in turn 3 a minute ago for Chad Little and Dick Trickle.
This is coming off turn 2. They'll be going down the back straightaway. And we see Trickle come up. Thought he had him cleared. And we saw the smoke and the contact.
Wonder if Chad Little only changed 2 tires, because, boy, he made an awfully good pit stop. And then, once the green flag waved, he was not able to run as fast as the others.
We are told that he may just have changed the right side tires only.
Ever see Elton Sawyer once again, right behind Chad Little.
Chad Little with a string of 8 straight top 10 finishes. In fact, 8 in a row in the top 8. competition to Mike.
Meanwhile, El Pasar looks like he's got a run this time, and he does, and gets by Chad Little, and here comes Hermie Sadler.
Kenny Wallace having made the pass on Mike Wallace.
Yeah, Mike raced him hard for a couple of laps, but Kenny's car was just too strong. Mike made several pit stops during this last caution. There's something wrong with his car, and so he quickly goes a lap down here. He's in 13th position. Tommy Houston goes around now.
Once again, Houston being shown back in 20th spot, 3 laps down. Going by Mike Wallace. Dennis Setzer, the car that's 5 laps down, back in 23rd spot. The second place car, actually, the third place car is Ken Schrader, the car number 52. That's the white car with Eastman across the front of it. And he now is second spot.
Yeah, he just passed the Ricky Craven car and went into second place. As they're in that lap traffic, Dennis Setzer there and the car number 9. Now Schrader gets down on the inside of Dennis Setzer, and now Craven gets there too. Boy, you can just lift the throttle for just a fraction of a second here, and somebody will go past you.
We showed you the spring event, and David Green was the benefactor of Mark Martin pulling in on the white flag lap, and now Green is now being shown in the top 5 in the car number 44. Schrader is second. That's the white car, number 52. Craven is third, car number 2. And David Green, the Slim Jim Chevrolet, that's the car owned by Bobby Labonte, back in 4th position.
Dick Trickle is being shown in 5th position. He's not too far behind these. He's perhaps a second behind these two cars. Got a couple lap cars between he and this group of cars that are running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. There you can see Trickle's car right at the end of that. Oh, and a spin right in front of him. Mike Wallace spins. Dennis Setzer also down on the inside, so caution is out once again.
And Robert Presley made an alert move. He came down pit road to miss those spinning cars. There's Mike Wallace, the FTP Brakes Chevrolet, and Dennis Setzer already has the Alliance Training Center's Chevy back in the right direction. And we will see the caution flag for the 6th time tonight.
Let's try this once again. They're coming off the second corner, and there we see Wallace spinning. Little contact, and both cars spin. Setzer goes around as well.
And that was right in front of Dick Trickle. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place cars had just gotten by these two cars. Trickle was coming up on them. He was running in 5th place, and these two cars got together.
Now here's the in-car look at what happened over here off of turn 2.
That's Dick Trickle we're looking at his windshield. Setzer in the Alliance car number 59 as they go around the Robert Presley car. And now, as you can see, Setzer makes a little contact with Mike Wallace there and just spins him right on around.
And Dick Trickle drove on by.
Well, spotters are important everywhere, but particularly on the short tracks, and spotters are critical here at Bristol, Tennessee. Let's take a look at this week's track facts.
High above the Speedway here at Bristol, you'll find some of these spotters at the entrance to Turn 1 looking down on the racetrack. It is a very important job that they do here at night because, as Benny and Ned have been telling you this evening, 15-second laps, things happen in a hurry. You need to know where you can go to avoid the trouble. So the spotters have to look nearly half a lap ahead for the drivers, and also some of the teams use the second spotter that not only watches ahead of the track but watches their car to make sure trouble doesn't happen around them. Kyle?
Yeah, the deal with a spotter at a place like this is I don't care. Spotters can't help at a place like this. Things happen so quick. But let me explain one thing to you. The spotters are quickly becoming the most important people on any race team. As a matter of fact, Jack Roush, who spots for Mark Martin on the Winston Cup side, is spotting for him tonight while he's driving Ernie's car here. So you have to believe, you have to trust your spotter, just like you trust your crew chief, just like you trust your engine guys. So, you know, it's just one of those deals where if you don't have a good spotter and you don't trust him, hey, there's no need to show up the racetrack, guys.
They're very important, Kyle, no question about it. And Tommy Houston's spotter was on the job here tonight. He was right behind the leader. The leader slowed down for the wreck. Tommy Houston went around and got one of his laps back. We'll be right back.
When traffic congestion changes, the threats to your car's engine change.
Back in Bristol, Tennessee, we went green 1 lap ago. Nothing's changed. 31-year-old Kenny Wallace trying to pick up his first win in 1994. He's the leader.
I tell you what, get him named to drive that 28 car, the Havoline car in the Winston Cup race tomorrow night is looks like it's got this boy pumped up.
He's inspired, no doubt about it. He's been running right up there in the top 5 all night long, and Kenny Schrader has been right up there too. He's in the white number 52.
It looks to me like he was bottoming out pretty good down turn 1 and 2 last time. I'm talking about Kenny Schrader.
See some sparks underneath that white car, the white and red number 1, car number 52. Let's look again. There is our leader, Kenny Wallace. And watch the white car behind him. You see some sparks as the car goes into the turn down here in turn 1.
If you go by so fast, your cameraman can't keep up with it.
It's definitely bottoming out coming off of turn 2, Schrader's car is. And that's, when you run that low on the racetrack, you get that left wheel down on the black part, on the asphalt. That banking is not nearly as high there as the cement is, and it'll cause the car to bottom out many times.
This is inside or on top, actually, of Jerry Cope's car.
And when we talk about bottoming out, we're talking about metal hitting the asphalt or hitting the pavement, whether it's cement or asphalt.
Once again, we're looking at the telemetry on Jerry Cope's car. We saw 127 miles an hour. We saw 130 that time because there is no traffic. That's Mark Martin directly in front of him. He's trying to catch.
Gary Cope being shown a lap down, back in 17th position. You see him tap the brakes there as Johnny Benson makes a move to the inside. Here's Jim Bound, the 63 car.
Jim Bound having a good run there tonight, still in the lead lap, being shown in 11th position.
And Terry Labonte was slow just a moment ago, but he's back up to speed now. We saw him go by Gary Cope. Meanwhile, this is Chad Little's car.
That caution might have been a break for Terry Labonte, Denny, because he stayed in the lead lap. He was about to have to make a pit stop.
There's Chad Little, Bayer Select Ford, car number 23.
Tommy Houston, outside pole sitter, that red 60.
Red Devil Enamel. They're out of Memphis, Tennessee, and we understand they're looking at possibly renewing next year for Tommy Houston after the impressive runs he's had at Indianapolis Raceway Park, where he finished second, and right here Bristol back in the spring.
Little contact, body contact between the 6 and the 23.
You're going to look at it from Chad Little's perspective in the Harris Teeter Ford Thunderbird. Good battle here. Jim Bound and Terry Labonte. Bound had his best Busch finish of the season right here back in the spring, a top 5, and Terry Labonte, though, takes the measure of Bound in the Lux sponsored Chevrolet, the MW Windows car. We're told MW Windows announced today that they're going to renew next year for another 20-race schedule with Terry Labonte. It'll be their 3rd year with him after he's won 3 times this year in '94.
And Jim Bound has already announced that he will not be back in this car next year. He's going to do something else, maybe form his own team, or if a good ride comes along. But he said he and Slick talked it over, and things were just not going the way that both of them thought it should, so they're going to part ways at the end of the season.
A lot of speculation as to who might get in that yellow car, the Hubert Jeff Hensley car, and the word is it might be Curtis Markham, impressive young driver from up in Virginia, who might climb aboard that car and get a shot at running the whole Busch Tour next year. Would be a nice break for Curtis.
And the reason we're showing you this and talking about this is Kenny Wallace, our leader, has checked out. He said, "See you guys." There we see the Staff America car, Johnny Benson.
Battle for 6th position involves Jason Keller.
Jason Keller in the white red, number 57 on the inside of Mike Wallace.
Right behind him is Tracy Leslie, Benny. He's back in 7th spot. They're, of course, all in the lead lap.
So this position is being contested. As we watch all this, I'll tell you that Tommy Houston, our outside pole sitter, has went behind the wall, heading for the truck, out for the night.
Trickle a shade under 6 seconds back behind Kenny Wallace. So our interval leaderboard lets you know exactly how far they are from the leader up front. There's Trickle, the car number 64. Behind him is Hermie Sadler.
Now, Hermie is a lap down in 14th position. In the Ginger for Lover's car.
Go by the Johnny Rumbling machine. Here's Jason Keller at 57, and I mentioned ago, that's a good battle for Keller. Good run for Keller. He had trouble early on, and the car got out of shape, lost a few spots. He's been running in the top 10 most of the night.
I tell you what, Jason Keller's done a nice job this year in that car, the 57. Well, back up to, there's Mark Martin in the 28, the Mac Tools car.
Terry Labonte just able to get by Mark Martin a minute ago.
And Ernie, I want to tell you, he hasn't torn it up too bad.
Labonte moved into 10th. Mark Martin is 11th.
Don't know if you heard Kyle Petty's comment a minute ago going to break, but Kyle said that Mark Martin had said, Ernie, now I know why I outrun you every week in this car. This car is a handful. 37 laps to go here in the Food City 250. Glad to have you with us. Exciting Busch Series racing action from the high banks of Bristol, Tennessee.
Terry Labonte, Mark Martin, Elton Sawyer, and Johnny Rumbling.
Elton Sawyer is a lap down as a result of the spin when he got spun out. He is in 15th position.
And you're riding with Mark Martin, who started back in 17th. Currently in 10th spot. He's in the top 10. Has not led a lap tonight. Here's a good nose-to-tail battle. Now, the 64 car is the 5th place machine. That is Dick Trickle. You mentioned Benny a minute ago that Hermie Sadler, the 25 car, is a lap down, but they are for position behind Sadler.
And he wants to get by. He is faster than Trickle right now. He just cannot get by. And meanwhile, these other guys want to get by Hermie, so they try to chase down Trickle. Nobody's having any success at all.
And Terry Labonte is rapidly catching this crowd. He's the car number 14 you saw a minute ago go by. There's Labonte. He's the white car in the right top of your screen.
And we see Johnny Benson trying to get on the inside of the 72 car. This is normal when you see a wreck.
Well, now Ricky Craven has, been caught by the Slim Jim car of David Green. Not long ago, Kenny Schrader, you saw him in the left of your screen. The white car way out in front there has pulled away from Craven. Craven was right on the back bumper of the 52 car of Ken Schrader not long ago, but now Craven seems to be not running quite as fast as he was a little bit earlier. David Green has caught up to him and trying to make the pass for third position.
As we watch this, I'll tell you that Jerry Cope has parked the Sports World car with our in-car camera. Looks like he's having an engine problem or some kind of problem. He's out for the night.
And as you watch this, we'll tell you that Kenny Wallace continues to be our leader, but Kenny has said, see ya. Wallace has pulled away by about a half a straightaway over Ken Schrader, the second-place car. Here is the battle for third and fourth position, Ricky Craven and David Green. And here's the interval. That's third and fourth. Where's our leader? Half a lap ahead. That's Kenny Wallace. TIC, Financial Ford Thunderbird, trying to get win number 1. And yes, Johnny, Ernie, we want you to get well. Everyone thinking of Ernie Irvan here tonight. Back in a moment. These beautiful aerial shots high above Bristol International Raceway brought to you tonight by the fine folks at Steel, makers of a full line of outdoor power equipment. Powerful, easy to use, and durable. High above beautiful Bristol International Raceway. High bank 36 degrees. There's our top 15 as laps are winding down. Elton Sawyer being shown back in 15th spot. We have 12 cars in the lead lap. The final car in the lead lap is Chad Little.
Uh-oh. There's a caution flag if NASCAR sees it. Yeah, it might be out of the way, though.
It's down on the inside of the asphalt part.
And look at that baby spin, would you?
Well, that thing had some RPMs when it came off.
That's a harmonic balancer.
Yeah.
That's a front pulley assembly off the engine, and it's come off of one car.
Mike Wallace, I think. Mike Wallace just rolled into the pits with smoke coming from his car, and there he is. He's out of the car, and I suspect that's where the harmonic balancer came from.
Let's take a look, see if we can see it here. Once again, Mike Wallace's car right of your screen.
Yeah, you can see the sparks flying there as he comes off the turn.
And there it is.
Yep.
How many weeks is he going to shed parts on television? Last week it was chunks of lead that came out like a howitzer against the concrete wall at Michigan, and tonight it's a harmonic balancer.
Wow, and somebody ran across that car. The 59 ran across that balancer.
Wow.
That didn't do his car any good, I guarantee you. Now it's coming back off the racetrack.
I That's a tough little piece of metal.
That's actually a crankshaft. That's the front end of the crankshaft.
And that's not a good sign, folks, as they push the car number 9 behind the wall. Laps winding down, less than 15 to go here at Bristol, Tennessee, and that's the car they're chasing, Kenny Wallace. Moving in on the car number 63, Ned.
And it's running in the 11th position.
Jim Bound moves over. Kenny Wallace goes flying by. You know, Kenny Wallace has run very well this year in that number 8 car, the PIC Financial car. He just has not caught a break.
In fact, Benny, he has led now over 600 laps. He had led 569 laps coming into this race, 9 different events, and had not gone to victory lane. He'd always had something happen in the late laps. He's got 11 laps now to hold his breath. There's the interval back to second position. The Eastman-sponsored car, Kenny Schrader. Eastman folks got to be happy. They got a nice little opportunity with their first outing in Busch Series competition to get a top 5 finish.
I would say they are delighted. There we see the third-place car of David Green.
And he has caught Kenny Schrader. He has moved up very close on him. He got around when we went to commercial a little bit ago. We saw him battling with Ricky Craven, but he moved on around him and is now caught Schrader.
And here's our leader, Kenny Wallace, that we're talking about. And I tell you what, he better be glad there's only 9 laps to go, because right in front of him, there's a mess going on. Guys racing that race we saw a moment ago between Leslie and Benson and Keller.
And Benny, the 10th place car, which is Mark Martin and Ernie Irvin's car, is right in front of our leader, Kenny Wallace. It'll be 8 to go. He comes by making it 7 to go. That's the black car number 8 of Kenny Wallace, 31 years of age, younger brother of Rusty Wallace.
I think he's going to keep his distance, Jerry. I don't think he's going to go up there and try to put a lap on those guys. He don't need to. He's got a big lead.
We've talked about spotters tonight, how important they are right now. The spotter has to be telling him, Kenny, don't get up in that mess in front of you. Back off. You've got a big lead. I'll tell you if someone's getting close to you and you've got a race. The spotter's telling him right now.
Take a look at the interval. This is why he's not in a big hurry. The second place car, well, he's almost to Kingsport. That's Kenny Schrader, the car where, come on, Kenny, where are you? There you are. There's Kenny Schrader. No big hurry for Kenny Wallace, because Schrader is over near the Eastman plant somewhere, over in Johnson City or Kingsport. That's how far back he is in second spot.
The third place car, David Green, he has caught Schrader, and now, you know, Schrader right now is in a defensive position, and there's Kenny Wallace, so you can see it's almost exactly a half lap difference between first and second.
Can getting named the driver of a top Winston Cup car like Kenny Wallace had, can that make the emotional difference, an edge for a driver to be able to come out and do something like this?
Well, it could possibly, but as we've said, Kenny Wallace has run so good all year long in that car. Should have won several races. Brakes just didn't fall his way, and they've fallen his way here tonight. But I'm sure that adrenaline is flowing.
But I tell you what, I always say that you cannot underestimate emotional value when it comes to a race car. It's worth 25 horsepower on these race cars.
They get into some emotion a minute ago. Those people there in Kenny Wallace's pits realize that the problems have happened to him all year long. He is less than half a mile away from win number 1. Carl Simmons waves the white flag. Kenny Wallace down out of turn 4, takes the checkered flag and will get the victory. And listen to this crowd. Watch the battle for second spot.
Schrader gets it. David Green is third.
Here comes the car number 2, Craven, and look at this battle. Single file, 4th, 5th is Dick Trickle. 6th will be Jason Keller.
And boy, Jerry, the crowd loves this win by Kenny Wallace. When he went out to qualify, the number 28 tonight, they really went wild in the stands. And here they are again now. They've got him a new hero.
Yes, indeed. It's Bill Martossi. There's Kyle Petty. There's Gil Martin, the crew chief, getting a big hug. Let's check in with Kyle Petty.
Well, I'm standing here with Gil Martin, and as you can see, he's doing some important stuff right here, right now. You guys run great. You've had terrible luck all year long. It seems like every time Kenny's been able to lead races, every time you guys guys have been able to have incredible pit stops and keep them up front. Something's happened to the motor, something's happened, bad luck. But tonight you put it all together, guys.
Well, I tell you what, the CIC Ford and Kenny Wallace, they did a great job tonight. These guys have hung tough through a lot of bad times. I tell you what, we've been close so many times this year, and this is just great for us. I want to thank Goodyear for a great tire, Redline Oil, Penske shocks. Man, I tell you, there's so many people I need to thank, I don't know who else to thank.
Congratulations, man. While we were standing here talking, Kenny come down, took the checkered flag, come back around, went back around in a Polish victory lap in honor of Ernie in the 28 car, guys.
Indeed, a tribute to a lot of other race drivers. Of course, Alan Kawicki, the one that made this lap famous with his first win ever out at Phoenix, Arizona. Tennessee fans love Ernie. Indeed, they do. And right now, they're going to cheer for Kenny Wallace, and rightfully so. What a performance tonight. And if he can duplicate this performance tomorrow night, it won't be thunder you'll hear. It'll be applause from this capacity crowd of probably close to 80,000.
The Busch official directing to the gas pumps or to the victory lane. Which is he going? He's going to victory lane. All right, that's the ride he wants to take.
And there's the trophy. Winner of the Food City 250 here at Bristol International Raceway, 1994 edition, Kenny Wallace.
He don't know how to do that. Bill Broderick was trying to tell him to pull on up in there, and he killed the engine. Now he's got it right.
Young man who celebrated his 31st birthday on Tuesday, got the call on Wednesday.
There's Mike Wallace in the window, giving Kenny a big hug.
Mike Wallace himself has won 3 of the Busch races this year. Now his brother getting into victory lane.
Some of the crew now coming along. Phil Martossi, the car owner of that Busch Series car.
Kenny, don't worry about you. You don't have enough to worry about anyway. Kind of like me.
Now let's take a listen. Let's go down to our split fire winner's circle interview with Kenny Wallace. Here's John Curtis.
I tell you, Kenny is so happy. I don't think he wants to get down off of the car. Kenny, I tell you what a night for you guys. You wore him out.
Oh, man, this is for Ernie Irvin. He inspired me this week, you know. We get so wrapped up in this race, and, you know, we want 2/10 in practice, and if something happens like that to Ernie, you know, this is for my team. I mean, Gil Martin and Filbert, this is a big win to me because we've had so many won this year, so to win this one was really important to us.
And we talked about the emotion. We're getting sprayed in here. Talked about the emotion of Benny and Ned and Jerry speculating in the booth just how getting named to drive one of the top cars in Winston Cup, that had to give you an emotional lift.
Right? There was so much that I made my wife scared this week. I said, Al Unser Jr.'s number 31. I turned 31. You know, I think of stuff like that. You know, and so much stuff has happened this first race with Alan Kawicki. And, you know, and this was the race I got hurt and couldn't drive in Winston Cup last year. And this is the one I relieve, you know, for Ernie. So I was thinking about everything with 30 to go. I just, please, Lord, he get over with.
All right, congratulations, Kenny. Jerry?
Kenny Wallace becomes the 16th different winner. We told you there might be number 16, and indeed it came true tonight from right here in Bristol, Tennessee. A smiling, happy Kenny Wallace dedicates the victory to Ernie Irvin. Back with more from Bristol International Raceway after this. Stay with us. Beautiful night for racing here in Bristol, Tennessee, the Blue Ridge Mountains of eastern Tennessee. And Kenny Schrader making his 9th career start in Busch Series competition, finishes 2nd. He's with Kyle Petty.
Well, I'm sitting here with Kenny and all the people from Eastman. They're tickled to death. Kenny, most people, this is their first race of the week. You run Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, now tonight, and you got to run again tomorrow, man. Well, how do you do it?
Well, I mean, you only got to work a couple hours a day, Kyle. You know that. That's why you got this kind of job. I tell you what, it's a lot easier when you get good race cars, and the whole Ed Whitaker crew and the Eastman Chemical people gave us a good car to run, and I just, Ernie, I hope you watch it tomorrow on tape or something. We're going to come up and see you next week.
That's Kenny Schrader. Now let's go to the guy that was all over Kenny Schrader the last 4 or 5 laps. Won the first race up here this year. Now he's come back, and I think you pretty much redeemed yourself, man. I know you got a lot of slack for that, but you take the money and you take the trophy and you go home no matter what. But I'm going to tell you what, Kenny Schrader had more than his handfuls with you tonight at the end of the race.
Yeah, Kenny taught me a little bit the last couple of laps, and, you know, we're awful thankful. The Slim Jim car ran awful good, and the Goodyear tires were great, and Carl Wagner built me a great motor, and you know, we just gained a few points, and anytime you can run with those Winston Cup guys, I'm satisfied. So had all the coaches in the world. Bobby was talking to me while he was racing, and little brother Jeff was fighting for me, and everybody did a good job. I want to say hi to Ernie and hope he's getting better. So,
well, these guys are tickled to death down here, and believe me, you know, like he said, a Winston Cup guy, there's not any guy in the world that can make a car any wider than Kenny Schrader can, guys.
I tell you what, Ernie Everett's got to feel real good that Kenny Schrader's going to take a night off racing to go see him.
Now that is special.
That is special.
Indeed. We'll be back with more post-race analysis from Bristol International Raceway after this. Stay with us. You've heard from the top three. How about our fifth-place finisher, Dick Trickle, who's standing by with John Kernan.
So far, it's been a pretty good weekend for Dick. A fifth-place finish tonight. You're going to start sixth in tomorrow's race. It looked like if you had maybe 50 more laps, you might have made your way closer to the front tonight, though.
Right. Well, the first set of tires, the car was really coming to where the fastest car, and when we changed tires and, you know, the car bound up a little bit, we just maintained fifth. But, you know, Food City is right here from Bristol, and, you know, I'm happy to have him on and get him up on the board. And, you know, I'm proud to be Jimmy Spencer Jr., I guess. Jimmy said I'm doing such a good job, he might let me run at Darlington now.
Okay, thank you very much, Dick. Let's go over to Kyle Petty.
Well, I'm standing here with Ricky Craven. You run in the top 5 all night long. Everybody that led the race, you gave them all they wanted. You got around the 6th car and took off, and then we had the pit stops, and everybody changed tires, and it seemed from then on out you struggled to stay in the top 5. What seemed to be the problem?
You know, we ran so good, Kyle, from lap 75 to 150 or whenever we pitted. Had an awesome set of Goodyear tires. And then the DuPont Refinish Chevrolet on the second set kind of went sour on us, and it was a handful. But happy for the day, you know, happy for Kenny. He needed to win, and just went away from us.
Well, I tell you what, these guys run really, really hard, and it's hard to believe, but you can see the dejection in his face. He knew he had a winning car tonight, and it's hard to believe that anybody can be dejected coming up fourth, but this guy wants to win races, guys.
Indeed, Kyle, he does, and by finishing fourth, he moves into a tie for second in the points. We'll show you the current Busch Series point standings when we come back to Bristol, Tennessee. Back at Bristol, Tennessee, these beautiful aerial shots provided by the fine folks from Steel Chainsaws. Getting a nice overview of this high bank speedway short track racing action here in Bristol, Tennessee. Take a look at the point stands. We told you that Ricky Craven had moved to a tie for second spot with Hermie Sadler. David Green moves away by an additional 44 points. Chad Little in fourth spot, and back in fifth spot is tonight's winner, Kenny Wallace. Take a look at 6 through 10, Bobby Daughter. Dennis Setzer, although he had a tough night and finished 21st, moves up one spot to 7th in the standings. Tracy Leslie is 8th, Larry Pearson 9th, and Robert Presley is 10th. We'll come back and take a look at a full field rundown and show you where your favorite driver finished tonight when we come back in just a moment. Again, we promised you full field rundowns, and of course Kenny Wallace winning the race. Take a look.
Ricky Craven in fourth spot. Dick Trickle got that car up in fifth.
Well, there were 10 cars on the lead lap. Jason Keller, Tracy Leslie, Johnny Benson, and Terry Labonte, and Mark Martin all coming home on the lead lap.
And he didn't hurt Ernie's car too bad. Ever see Fiedler back in 19th, Phil Parsons 18th.
Tommy Houston, our front row starter, gets a 25th finish.
Never see Harry Gant back there. He led for a while, but he finished 28th.
We might mention lots of racing action yet to come your way. Tomorrow night we have a live Speed Week from right here in Bristol, Tennessee at 6:30. And then at 7:30 p.m., our live coverage of the Goodies 500 qualifying earlier tonight. Benny?
Harry Gant, Jeff Bodine on the front row, Terry Labonte, Rusty Wallace, Joe Nemechek, the top 5, 6 through 10, Dick Trickle, Ward Burton, Mark Martin, Rick Mast, Bobby Labonte, 11 through 15, Bill Elliott, Jeff Gordon, Greg Sachs, Dale Earnhardt, Kenny Wallace was 15th in the 28 car. 16 through 20, Darrell Walter, Bobby Hamilton, Ted Musgrave, Derek Cope, and Jeff Burton.
And you saw Mark Martin, the defending champion of last year's Goodies 500. Once again, it's Busch Series racing action at its finest on the high banks from Bristol International Raceway. For Kyle Petty, John Kernan, Ned Jarrett, and Benny Parsons, I'm Jerry Punch. Once again, congratulating Kenny Wallace and reminding you, live tomorrow night, 6:30, Speed Week, followed at 7:30 by our live flag-to-flag coverage. Handsome Harry Gant on the pole for tomorrow night's Goodies 500. Thanks for joining us, everyone. So long from Bristol International Raceway.